Yes, it's your boy Demzzy2Anti. Please don't mad me. And yes, guys, like I said, as promised, another story time. Now, one thing I've learned from the last one is I had my phone as the mic, but I had it way too up my mouth. That's sounded mad, but you get the point. So I'm gonna have it lower down. I apologize for the audio for the last story time. I did try and edit the audio. I know that's not what this is about. Make sure to like and subscribe, comment, share. Socials will be in the description. You know how the thing go. So, as you can tell from this story time, it's another, we're going to call it another robbery because this is another robbery. So this story time is about how I was robbed from a security guard. Now, let's get straight into it. And again, this is based from my last job, not the one I did about the last story time, but a job before that. So, without getting into the job too much, I remember this is the end of shift. And we're going to talk a bit about him as well, actually. We're going to give a little summary, because that's what I like to do story times, I give a summary. I'm going to give a summary just on him and his little weird antics, because he is a bit of a weirdo. But, you know, that's just my life. I happen to just be around a lot of weirdos. So we're going to give a bit of summary before getting into it. So, like I said, he's a security guard, and everyone knows what a security guard does at clubs. I don't need to explain that. But explaining how he is as a security guard, he's a bit of a weirdo, as I've mentioned. And let me tell you, he's like twice, maybe 3 times my age. Wife and kids and all. And let's just say he's the predatory type. I don't think I even need to say any more after I've mentioned that word. And this is all, like I said, this was a night where it's in the shift. And someone who's married or has a child or children and another half, you're doing a lot of time watching. And he was basically preying up one of my co-workers at the time, which is, again, as I said, weird. So he's come to me now, basically pulling me outside to talk and whatnot. And I remember one of the things he mentioned was about dropping me home. And these times I was taking my scooter. Now, I've done a story time about my scooter. If you want to watch that, you can. It'll be linked at the end of the video. And I remember at that time, the scooter didn't have much charge to it, so he offered to drop me home. Now, my whole thing is, even if I have, let's say, trials and tribulations or errors or whatever, anything like that, I always try and make it work regardless. So my whole thing is, I wasn't thinking about asking to get dropped home, any of that. I would have made it work regardless, but since he was offering, I was willing to take the offer. So I said, yeah, that's fine. And then that's where he was doing his all weird antics. And he mentioned about bringing one of the females along the journey. Now, I'm looking at him sideways and I'm just like, just thinking it's a bit weird. Like, I wasn't saying it as much the way I'm saying it now, but I was trying to like hint like, it's a bit weird. And I wasn't really trying to approach that situation neither. And I was just saying that there's no need for that kind of thing. So me and him are outside talking about it. Another co-worker's come out because he was ready to go home. And the security's called him over, telling him to bring one of the girls outside. And I'm just shaking my head, like, I'm just trying to note to him as well, like, no, don't do it. Just basically trying to note to him, like, he's just on his foolish antics. Like, I didn't think he was actually gonna do it. I know he's weird like that, but you know what I'm saying? I was trying to avoid that from happening because he's weird. So she's come outside now, and I'm not really trying to have any part of it because, like I said, I'm not really indulging in his behaviour, but it's kind of a thing where it's happened now, he's done that kind of thing. So she's come outside now, and bearing in mind as well, they've never spoken before. For as far as I'm concerned, they've never had a conversation before. So it's just weird how you brought her out here because you want to drop her home kind of thing. You've never spoken to her. Like, he's only doing that like because he wants to bring a girl with his car, like, looking at it like, it's given I want to be a pimp, but really and truly, I'm a house husband who isn't really a house husband because he's out here cheating on that same said wife who's out home cleaning and cooking, doing all that shit. That's what it's given to me. And she's come now. And then somehow, moving on from that, somehow the three of us are now in his car. So we walked down to his car now. I said bye to everyone else. So we've gone to his car. And, you know, one thing in me, always put me on the aux. Trust me. So I was on the aux. I was in the back seat. She was in the front, of course. You know, and then he's just trying to chat her up kind of thing. Bearing in mind, I said he's twice my age as well as her age as well. I believe she's like 1 or 2 years older than me. But either way, this guy's like in his 30s. Like, you're a whole father. What are you doing? What are you doing? You're meant to be a security guard. I'm even going to put a definition of what security means, and I'm going to also put a definition or a summary of a security guard. And we're going to, as throughout this video, we're going to see if him as a person matches the description and definition of those two definitions on the screen. Right. So we're on the way now, and she doesn't live too far from the workplace. However, I live a bit further, because where I worked was in East London and where I live is in South. So the plan was to drop her off first. So I said, okay, cool, it's fine. And one thing in me, I'm very heavy on female safety, especially when it's at night time, because obviously what I was doing was night shift as well. So she's been dropped home first. He dropped her at the station, and it was not long of a journey for her to commute home from the station. And obviously me and her are in contact, so I said to her to let me know when you reach home. And he was trying to get in as well, because he was trying to move to her, like I said, and get her phone number. So that's that now. And then now he's asking me things like, oh, has she said anything about me? I think he even asked me to send her his number, like just doing little weird stunts. And it's just like, and one thing I will say, in the real life, I don't par with these kind of guys, you know. It's only because of work and you offer to drop me, cool. But these are guys I would never par with in real life, because it's weird. And I don't want that bad image. I've had certain guys I was friends with in the past that are a bit weird, and kind of feel a bit shamed, because those are people I would never par with in real life. I don't par with them kind of guys. Like, I've spoken to girls in the past who told me about guys like that, and I'm not like them. That's just not in my nature or my character. Do you understand? So that's that now. And we're making our way from after dropping her. And then now he's making an excuse to me, talking about how he don't know if he can drop me home, because you'd have to pass London Bridge where the congestion is. So my whole thing is that if you knew about this before, as a driver, you know the area, you know we have to go through certain places. Why are you not thinking these things ahead? I don't drive. You understand? For me, my scooter, I don't need to do no congestion charge. I just go about my way, go on my journey home. Even though I said it's halfway, it only had a bit of battery on it, I still would have made it work however I had to have made it work. Even if I had to just do it manually, I was willing to just do that. And I even asked him, are you sure, before even taking on the offer of being dropped home by him. So the fact that I've taken the offer that you've given me, and now the offer's basically off, it just looks dumb on you as well. Do you know what I'm saying? So his suggestion was to get a cab, well, for me to get a cab. And these times I didn't have money. You know, a payday, and sometimes you spend too much money, and that's what happened. I didn't have money for a cab. Cabs are not even cheap for me as well, from commuting from work to home. And on top of that, you'd be lucky to get a cab. There's hands where I've booked cabs multiple times and I've been cancelled and declined each time. Getting cabs is not easy in that area. I will say that. But either way, why would I take a cab when I have my scooter? Like I said, that's my thing as well. Number one, I didn't have the money. And number two, I have my scooter. So better say I just done what I said, to just commute home with the scooter and make it work and take the risk. There was no point in coming this way. Now we're near near what's that area called, like Bold Church. So now even if I was to commute home, it's even longer of a journey than what it needed to be from work. You know what I'm saying? So I'm just explaining that to him, and then he's saying, oh, just use whatever money you have and then he'll pay me back. Cool, so fine. The only reason why I did that is because he said he'd pay me back. So I said, okay, cool. And then tomorrow we'll speak, I'll send him over my details and he'll send back the money. No problem. So the cab has come. We luckily got a cab. Because obviously I explained that to him as well. Like, getting cabs not even easy, you know. Because literally, you just probably see cancelled within my history of getting cabs. So we've got a cab in the cab now, we're messaging. I've got home and he's asking me like if I've reached home and stuff. I believe I have the receipts for this because as I said in my last video, and one thing in me, I do have my receipts. So whatever receipts I have, I shall show you guys, because one thing in me, these story times are real and authentic. I don't make up no stories on here, do you understand? These are the real deal. This is the real deal that you lot are getting. So you lot will see the receipts. I'll even try and find you the receipts of where I gave my bank details, everything. So I did that. This would have been a Sunday, I believe. Now I get Sundays are a busy day. Most people spend it with their family. Most people do shopping. Most people work, whatever it is. But either what way, my money is due. And we're going to get into some things now. So as I said, we've messaged now. And I'm waiting. And the whole day has gone. I'm pretty sure at one point I even double messaged him. And that's one thing I don't do anybody. I don't double text nobody. You have to mean more than the world to me for me to do that to you. I don't double text nobody. Now, I'm pretty sure I did that because the whole day's gone by and you have not sent me not a penny for the cab. And I didn't hear back from him when I did that. From then until now, if I must add. So all now I've received his money. And what I also found shady as well was that now I've come to work next week, I don't see you nowhere. You're not there. So I just found it very shady. And I know that certain security guards do whatever days, but I just found it shady how you've offered to drop me home. Being a weird creep, you're offering to pimp girls and drop them home that you've never even spoken to, having no reason but to be weird and try and move into them. And then after you've done that, now you're making up excuses why you can't drop me when you was the one to offer me. And then you make me use my money that I didn't even have to pay for a cab. And then now I've done that. When you said you was going to send me back the money, you haven't done that. And I'm messaging you about it and you haven't heard. I don't like things like that. I don't like people like that who owe you things and they say they'll give it back to you. And then when you're trying to get it from them, you don't hear from them. Or they have all the excuses in the world. And it's like, you see my messages. That's what it was for me. You've seen them as well. And you didn't reply. To this day. And actually, funny saying that, I don't know when it was or how long it was from when that had happened. But I remember I'd seen him one time. And I said to myself, I'm not chatting to this guy. I let it go. Because let me even say something. It wasn't even that much money. Okay? It would have been probably less than £20. But that's one thing we're going to get into as well at the end of the video. Like I said, I'd seen him. And before I seen him, I said, I'm not even going to chat to you. Like, you done that? Cool, that's fine. But now we're not cool like that. And don't talk to me. Don't try to act like we're guys and any of that. Because that's just weird that you've done that. That whole thing is weird. So I've let it go. But I'm not going to have that same energy with him again. Now that anytime I see him. So now I've seen him. And it got brought up. I'm pretty sure he brought it up. Because I weren't really talking to him when I saw him. I was giving him the bare minimum driest convo. And he's mentioning it. And then he's, again, another excuse. Talking about he didn't have the money in his card or something like that. Talking about he'd need to draw it out. Even if that was the case, you could have communicated that to me. Even if you didn't know or whatever at that time, you could have communicated it. And you could have done that. And you didn't even do that. So you've mentioned that now and you've not even drawn it out. And like I said, I'm not gonna run you down. I shouldn't have to run you down. Do you get it? And that's what happened. And now, my whole thing is with that, like I said, it wasn't as much money. It's not even about the money. What it really comes down to is the principle and the behaviour of people. It could have been £5, it could have been £30, it could have been 2p. It's not about that. It's the deceitfulness behind it. It's just like, there was no need. I literally would have done what I had to do. You offered and then you've twisted it into different things and you're making up excuses along the journey. That's my whole thing. I like people who can just be honest and straight up. If you're not able to do something, don't go out your way to do it and you really can't do it. Don't pretend that you can do something when you can't, because you just made a fool out of yourself as well within the end of it. Do you get it? If you didn't have the money to give back to me, you could have communicated that with me, or if you knew you'd get it by said, you could have said anything, but you've decided to do these things as if you're able to do it, and then when it comes down to things, the energy and what needs to be done is not being done, kind of thing. So as I said, it's not about the money, it's the principle behind people. But at the end of the day, moral of the story, because one thing in me, my story times, I come with the receipts, the facts, the feelings, but also the moral of the stories. And the moral of this story is, don't trust people. People say things, they say they'll do things, but then when it comes down to it, they really ain't about it. You get it? And keep your distance. Keep a distance. Because people like that, it's weird, and they just get you unnecessary problems. But I believe that's the end of the story time. This one's not such a major one. But on that note, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe and share. Socials will be linked in the description of this video. And as I said, more story times to come. There's a lot of things we're going to speak on. So you lot look out for that. Keep your eyes peeled. And without further ado, that's the end of this video. Over and out. Demzzy on the beat.